In this video, I want to talk a little bit about some free Hebrew online tools. We have an almost embarrassment of riches online now, where you can actually do so much to research the Greek or Hebrew Bible without having to buy expensive software or having to buy expensive books. You know, back in the day when I was in seminary, you know, if you were going to buy a concordance to the Greek New Testament, you were going to spend maybe $50 on a Moulton and Gaydon, very thick, heavy hardback. But now almost all that stuff is available for free online. Now the Greek online tools are probably slightly better than the Hebrew tools available online, but Hebrew's catching up in my opinion. And I just want to show you a few of the kinds of resources that you can use for free online right now in 2013. So for example, I want to start by going to blueletterbible.org. Now Blue Letter Bible is oriented in its default around the King James Version, and some people will want to use that. Of course, the King James, the Greek and the Hebrew behind the King James represents where manuscripts were in the 1500s. So basically, we found thousands more manuscripts since then. So if the King James scholars, if Erasmus, who put together the Greek text behind the King James New Testament, for example, if they had the kind of manuscripts available that we have today, they probably would have used them, and the King James wouldn't look like the King James is. But if you probably want to be slightly more accurate with the original text, if you put in for example, the NASB, then if I want to look at Genesis 1, for example, it's going to come up. I'm going to have access to probably a slightly more accurate Greek and Hebrew text. So here's Genesis 1, and if I click on the C under Genesis 1, I'm going to get the Hebrew. This is the Hebrew here at the top. Now at the bottom is the Septuagint, that is the Greek translation of the Hebrew. Now I don't know. Maybe in the days to come, Blue Letter Bible will have some real developed tools for the Septuagint. As far as I know, Blue Letter Bible doesn't have robust Septuagint tools yet, but that's things that probably are on the way. But here's the Hebrew at the top. Now let's say that you don't really know the Hebrew. The dictionary forms of the words are down here. Now you'll notice they're not the same. So for example, you can see Reshith. I would say Reshit. There are two different pronunciation systems, but this isn't exactly the same. There's an extra letter on the front. Here are the letters that are said to be Reshit here, and there's another letter that's actually a B, a bait, on the front. So these words here are not exactly the same as the words up here. These are the unmangled forms, the dictionary forms of the words. So without the word, that bait on the front is the word in. And so the basic word is Reshit. So beware that the words here and the way that they are spelled out here are not exactly the same as what's up here. These are giving you the basic core words behind each of these. And here is a transliteration. I mean, not a transliteration, but a translation of these words. So Reshit means beginning, and Bereshit, which is what is there, means in beginning, or in the beginning. Elohim, that is exactly the same here. Notice the order isn't even the same, because Hebrew doesn't put the words in the same order as English does. And so even though Elohim is third in the Hebrew, Blue Letter Bible has put it second, because in translation that works better for English. So let's say I want to know about this form here. These are the Strong's numbers. You probably know Strong's as this huge, big book put together by someone, James Strong, in the 1800s. They didn't have television, and so he had plenty of time to catalog all the words in Greek and Hebrew in the Old and New Testament. He went one by one through the Hebrew Bible and the Greek Bible, and every time he came upon a new word, he wrote it down in alphabetical order, and every time he came across a word he'd already written down, he wrote down the reference. And so, of course, Strong's Concordance is keyed to the King James, because there wasn't any other Bible really other than the King James at the time. But so these Strong's numbers represent the order. So as he listed the Hebrew words one by one, Reshit was the 7,225th Hebrew word. The H means Hebrew, that he wrote down, because the Old Testament was written primarily in Hebrew, although there is some Aramaic, which is a related language. The New Testament Strong numbers would have a G in front of them for Greek. So let's look. Let's see what's there. So there's Reshit. Reshit is the dictionary word. You can hear pronunciation if you want.
Strong's H 7225. Reshith. Reshith. Second entry. Reshith. Reshith.
Now he is, that is, I think, Bill Mounts. I would say Reshit, but that's not important for this video. There are different pronunciations. And here you have to be careful about dictionaries from 100 years ago, because they weren't quite as sophisticated in their understanding of how language works. But definitely this will get you going. Beginning is what this word means. Reshit means beginning. You want to be careful about overload, because dictionaries from 100 years ago were often guilty of the overload fallacy. But if you keep going down the page, here are all the places where the word Reshit is used in the Old Testament. And so it's a pretty robust word. Two different, you have to go to two different pages like this to get through all of them. If you did a word study, you would want to look up all of these and see how the word is used. I think you'll find that it pretty much means beginning in most places. These previous Strongs and next Strongs, the value of those is it shows you might see related words. This is Rishoni, which let's just look at the definition of it. It's a name, it looks like, and so this word basically is not going to be related to Reshit. Let's go back and look at the next word. The next word is Rosh, which means head, I believe. Nope. What is this here? This is... There are no concordance results for this number. Oh, wow. This must be a verse that's not in the NESB, but it is in the King James Version. The word Rosh means head. It is related to the word for beginning, because the beginning is the head of something. But anyway, I don't want to go any further there. I just want to show you how you can use Blue Letter Bible to get at the Hebrew. Now, if you want to go to interlinearbible.org, then actually this site might be even a little bit more robust for doing Hebrew research than Blue Letter Bible is. So if I go to the Hebrew/English interlinear, look, there I have Genesis 1:1, and this is a interlinear, which means that the Hebrew, the English translation is underneath it. This actually tells you how all the letters. So Blue Letter Bible only gave you the dictionary form. And you can see that the dictionary form is here as well. So there's Strong's number 7,225 in Hebrew. You can get access to that. I'll show you in a second. But it transliterates all the letters. Bereshit. The bait is here, where it wasn't there in Blue Letter Bible. This site might be more helpful, actually. You can see that this helps you if you. There's the Hebrew. I'll show you that in a minute. So let me click on this, the Strong's number, and so there you have the Strong's number, Reshit. It tells you it's a feminine noun. It tells you a short definition, beginning. That's good. It tells you it's from Rosh, which means head or beginning. You got to be careful because that may or may not have anything to do with the word. Here are some of the different forms that it can take. This particular form, here's what's helpful with this site. The particular form here, Bereshit, occurs 5 times in the Hebrew Bible, and that's significant. So if you look at them, for example, all the other places where Bereshit is used, it means in the beginning of, all of them. Now it's a little different because it's usually followed with a noun, and Bereshit bara is followed with a verb. So you might argue that that's different, but someone might argue that a more accurate translation is something like in the beginning of God creating the heavens and the earth. How do I get that? I get that from looking at the other places where this specific form is used. This Interlinear Bible.org would appear to be a slightly more robust site. Now the Greek version of this actually gives the parsing of the words underneath. So the parsing of bara here, the second word, for example, would be that it is a call, perfect, third masculine singular from bara. I think I'm just guessing that eventually interlinearbible.org will put the parsing of these words underneath. I don't currently know, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I don't currently know of any online sites, free online sites, that have the parsings of all the Hebrew words. Parsing means you give the component parts. I did want to show you strongsnumbers.com redirects basically here. And so that's a way. Let's say that you have a word without a context. You're given a Hebrew word, but you don't know where it appears. So someone is talking to you about the Hebrew word chesed, but you don't know a verse to find it in. Now, of course, one way to find a verse, if you know the translation of chesed, it sometimes means faithfulness. You could use an English concordance. You could go to Bible Gateway, for example, .com, and do a search on faithfulness, and kind of hit and miss with Blue Letter Bible or Interlinear Bible until you found the word chesed behind it. But you might find the word chesed by clicking on this Hebrew letter aleph. Now here are the Strong's numbers, both in Hebrew and in Greek, and you can see that there are more Hebrew entries than there are Greek entries. And so I would, in order to find, chesed, I'd have to know that it begins with a chet. So I would click on the chet, and it's not exactly user friendly here to find chesed, because Hebrew, the vowels don't. When you talk about the alphabetic entries of Hebrew, it's the consonants. Hebrew tends to have three. Hebrew words tend to have 3 basic letters, and so it's the consonants that determine the spelling order. And why am I telling you this? Because it's hard to figure out the alphabetical order as far as the vowels are concerned. The second, for example, you can see these all begin with a chet, but it goes back and forth. There's a vav there as the second letter, if you know the letters, but here's a mem, and there's a yod. So the second letter, where the vowel, it may or may not be in a clear order until if you don't know Hebrew very well. So let me see if I can find chesed. Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod. So the kaf, the kate, I found the kate. Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek. Okay, Kesed, I think, is an Asamic, the second letter. It's down. Where is it at? So you see, it's hard to find things. There's a Chesed, your loving kindness, but man, I want to find just the word Chesed. Where's just the word Chesed? Let me just. That has ending on it. Maybe I can find it through the back door. Bechesed, Chased. Let me look. Well, there it is. 66 occurrences of Chesed in the Old Testament. So it's a little bit. This isn't quite there yet when you're trying to find a word out of the blue. By far, the best way to find a word is to find a verse with the word in it. So, a couple of great tools: BlueLetterBible.com to get at the Hebrew, and InterlinearBible.org Hebrew. And of course, the same thing I've just said works for the Greek as well. So, some great free online tools for studying the Hebrew Bible.